My name still remains Oyedele Adewale Olamide, aka Freaky Fresh. I'm still on the same subject matter, spoken word and African poetry. From the Anthology of Thought, I'll be discussing the poem The Poor Boy. I have never been happy before because I have never enjoyed wealth. The only time I laughed was when I laughed at myself for being broke. Everyone runs from me because, at a glance, they can sense that I am a poor boy. In my dreams, I always enjoy wealth, but in reality, I feel like death. In reality, I still dream about my dreams. When it rains, I don't sleep. My roof and torn mat are always wet. When the sun shines, I sweat. When will I hold 1,000? When will I become a millionaire? I know the latest cars, phones, and the best houses, but I don't have any of them at all. Sometimes I think maybe I wasn't created by God. Oppression and depression, sorrow and hatred persist in my life. I fast naturally because there is no food for me to eat. I check the debris sometimes to look for scraps to eat. I met some dogs there, they always bark at me. And I pick up stones in return because we are both hungry. I have plans A and B to Z, but none of them are working. I am not respected in the eyes of the right-thinking members of the society. Some even brutalize me, saying my appearance looks like that of a thief, planning to come overnight. Why do I always cry? I don't know. This is just natural. The poor boy with talent. But how do I nurture this? The poor boy with skills. But how do I show this? Before I speak, they keep me short. I need a name. How do I become a rich boy? Now, I'll be doing the analysis of this poetry for a proper comprehension, for a proper understanding. The background. The poem, The Poor Boy, reflects the struggle of an impoverished individual living in a harsh and judgmental society. It is a deeply personal narrative shedding light on the emotional, physical, and psychological toll of poverty. Now, looking at this, we could see that the poem talks about what? The physically, psychological, emotional what? Shedding light on what? The poverty of a what? Of a boy. The poet speaks from a first-person perspective, allowing the audience to connect with the raw, unfiltered experience of the speaker. The portrayal of deprivation, unfulfilled dreams, and societal discriminations emphasizes the plight of many underprivileged individuals worldwide, particularly in economically changed regions. Now we could see how this background came up using the first person narrative techniques, telling us how a poor boy looks like, using what? Shedding light on the emotional, physical, and psychological toll of what? Poverty. Describing how poverty shows. Now, the next is the theme of the poem, the subject matter. The theme of the poem, that is the central idea of the poem. Now, we have the central theme of the poem is what? Poverty and its dehumanizing effect. The poem explores related themes such as 1. despair and hopelessness. Despair and what? Hopelessness. The speaker feels trapped in a cycle of what? Poverty, unable to escape despite having talent and skills. Despite having talent and skills, he doesn't know how to what? To nurture this, and he doesn't have someone to help him nurture it. Despite all this, he was what? Hopeless. Despair. Another is what? Dreams and unfulfilled aspiration. Now, whenever he sleeps, he dreams about his dream. Dreams and what? Fulfilled aspiration. Things he's aspiring for was what? Unfulfilled. The speaker contrasts dreams of wealth with the harsh reality of lack and deprivation. Now, look at how I juxtapose these two things. I contrast what? Dream of wealth with the harsh reality of lack and deprivation. That is, he was being what? He's being deprived. I what? Put the two side by side. Now, we have societal judgment and marginalization. Now, the speaker faces rejection and brutalization based on the appearance and economic status. Based on his appearance, people run from him. Based on his appearance, they already know that he's a poor boy. Even from the what? From the stanzas, we could see that what? The reflection of being poor is in what? The stanzas. We have resilience and amidst suffering. Despite hardship, the speaker continues to hold on to hope for a better what? Future. Despite the hardship, despite how things are, the speaker still what? Hold on to hope for a better future. He still believes in the future. Now I'll be discussing the subject matter. The subject matter of this poem, the poem revolves around the life of a poor boy who endures poverty, hunger, and societal alienation. Now, from the poverty aspect, you could see that this boy fasts sometimes due to the what? Due to the fact that he does not have what to eat. So he has to go into what? Fasting. Now, the poor internal struggle with self-worth and identity could be seen from the subject matter. We have external challenges too, including hopelessness, hunger, and societal disdain. Just like Ralph Ellison's Invisible Man, we have what? External challenges. That what? He wasn't being seen as someone that is what? Visible due to his what? Due to his complexion. Complexion, rather. Now, a yearning for change symbolizes the dream of what? Wealth and self-reinvention. Now, let's look at the type of poetry this poem falls under. The poem is a narrative poem that adopts a reflective and confessional tone. It tells a personal story while evoking emotions and insights into the speaker's reality. The structure is free verse. It is not a blank verse, which mirrors the lack of stability in the speaker's life, allowing the poets to express themselves without the constraint of rhyme or meter. There is no rhyme scheme, so the poet was able, which I was able to what? Express it like an ordinary life. It was a narrative poem in form of what? A free verse. Now, what type of device is used? What are the devices used in this poor boy, the poem? The poet, employed various literary devices to enhance the emotional and thematic depth of the poem. Firstly, imagery is used. Vivid description creates mental picture of the speaker's struggle. E.g., when it rains, that is an imagery. I don't sleep. My roof and torn mat are always wet. Evokes the hardship of what? Hopelessness. Now we could see that, we could imagine that and see when it rains, and we could see the hopelessness from the suffering, from the torn mat, which are always what? Wet. Another is contrast. The juxtaposition of dreams and reality highlight the speaker's despair. E.g., in my dreams, I always enjoy wet, but in reality, I feel like death. That is what? A contrast of what? Of wet and what? And death. Now, we have the next one, which is repetition. The reoccurring phrase, the poor boy, is a form of repetition. Is a repetition in the poetry. Emphasize the speaker's identity and struggle. Now we have personification. The speaker attributes emotions to abstract concepts like oppression and what? Depression, making them more what? Tangible. Another is rhetorical question. Questions such as when will I own 1,000? These are questions that does not deserve an answer because he was poor. He is poor rather. And how do I become a rich boy? Expresses the speaker's frustration and longing. Metaphor is also used. Poverty is likened to what? Death, symbolizing its oppressive and life-draining nature. Poverty is likened to death, that is a metaphor, symbolizing its oppressive and life-draining nature. The next is alliteration. The repetition of initial consonant as seen in plans A and B to Z create a rhythm and emphasis. Last but not the least, because we have different and diverse ideas, some of the literary devices could be what? Written below through the comment. The last here is irony. I mentioned, that is the speaker mentions knowing the latest cars, phones, and the best houses, highlighting the paradox of awareness amidst lack. So, in conclusion, I would like to tell us that this poetry, The Poor Boy, is poignant reflection of the struggle of poverty, marked by a blend of sorrow, frustration, and resilience. Through its heartfelt narration and use of literary devices, the poem captures the essence of the speaker's plight, making it relatably to anyone who has faced or empathized with hardship. It serves as a call for compassion and a reminder of the human spirit resilient in the face of adversity. Now, from this poem, we could relate it to our normal life. We have some people that are facing hardship, emotional oppression, psychological what? Problems. Through what? Through this poor boy's poetry, one will be able to be influenced, and the perception or the concept towards what? The poor people will be changed. Now, I want you guys to also what? Comment below this video. Watch this video, comment, suggest your own theme, your own literary devices, your own background. You can also tell us about your own you can also tell us about your own subject matter and the type of poetry you think this poetry is. My name still remains Oyedele Adewale Olamide, popularly known as Freaky Fresh, or you could say also known as what? Freaky Fresh. Thank you for taking your time to watch this video.